Well, what effect did Nico Effect have on the portal? Well, we're going to find out here real soon as it opens up now.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. And today, on this episode, we're going to look at some potential portal moves. It appears as the first unexpected domino is going to fall. Defensive lineman De'Marion Thomas planning on hitting the portal. Don't know if he's made it official yet, but he was projected to start. So is this part of the Nico effect? Where's Nico going to land? What's going to happen there? And things, it's getting interesting for him as well. So but back to De'Marion Thomas, is he looking for a bigger payday? Who's going to replace him? Who's possibly next? Well, that's the unpredictable nature of the spring transfer portal window. But there's some other things involved as far as that goes as well. So it'll be interesting to see what Clark Lee decides he wants to do there. And, of course, we're going to wrap up the show. Vandy Hoops picks up another transfer target. They were able to land winger Mike James from NC State. He was injured and never appeared for the Wolfpack, but he was very impactful at Louisville before that, and we'll break his game down and what he means to this Vanderbilt team and Mark Byington. So thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. Oh, yeah. Baseball got a commit from a pitcher from Nolensville, Bo Holloway. So that's exciting as well, getting more pitching. Again, thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We're available and free wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Man, that's incredible because the NBA playoffs are here and you can bet on all that stuff. So, but anyway, De'Marion Thomas hitting the portal. Is this the first Nico Effect transfer that Vanderbilt is going to have? Because I didn't have a projected starter on the interior defensive line on my bingo card as one of the first guys to enter the spring portal. He was in line for a lot of playing time. Maybe he knows something that I don't or that we don't, and maybe that time was going to be getting cut into by Glenn Seabrooks, Zaylen Wood. Excuse me, it's spring. My allergies are kicking right now. Otara, Aaron Bryant. I don't know. I don't know what the deal was there, or I don't know if he felt threatened with his playing time. But whatever the case may be, looks like he's on his way out. And I don't know if he'll find a better deal because, well, I mean, I guess everybody's looking for portal guys, but he can't go within this conference. So he's going to have to go outside the SEC if he wants to transfer. So my guess, it's possible that he's looking for that bigger payday because, Nico still hasn't landed yet, which I think should concern a lot of people. Like if you're thinking about being that guy that's going to hit the portal, looking for that bigger payday, like the fact that he hasn't landed anywhere yet, I would be slightly concerned. If I was thinking about that, I'd be like, well, maybe not, because who knows what's going to happen to Nico. And I can tell you one thing, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to try this thing without seeing where Nico's going to land up and without seeing the effect that it has on Nico Effect. And, I think it's going to put a lot of strain on the transfer portal. I think it's going to water a lot of things down. So I'm very curious to see just what we see hitting the portal after this thing opens up. So, I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know what any of that means for Vanderbilt or for any other team for that matter. But what I do know is this. When news broke that Nico and Tennessee were parting ways, he was holding out apparently, and if this is true, and not to be locked on Vols. That's Eric Kane. He's probably talked about this ad nauseum. But, apparently, if this is true, which I'm not sure if it is, rumors can be just that, rumors. And I wasn't there, so I can't say. But his dad was doing this stuff the week of the playoff game against Ohio State, which could explain, it's plausible because it could explain why he played so poorly against Ohio State. And it wasn't just because of the cold weather. It could just be the fact that he was more worried about holding out for more money and hitting the transfer portal than he was about beating Ohio State. So what you're looking at is, I think that could, I think that's the reason why all these teams are bowing out. Like Tulane just bowed out, UNC bowed out. I think every major program he was talking to are like, we're good. So how's that affect Vanderbilt? Well, De'Marion Thomas is about to find out because, I don't know why he's leaving. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what he had in mind as far as what he thought he was going to get. I don't know. And it could just be an agent of his or somebody that's close to him helping him look for a payday. I really don't know. But I just don't. I think if that's the case, I think he's going to be disappointed because the teams that can pay him are inside the SEC, and the teams that can pay him outside of the SEC probably aren't paying him, or at least they're not paying him what he wants. And there could be a case where if he changes his mind, he can certainly do that, jump back out of the portal, but Clark Lee would have to take him back, and he would have to hope that Clark Lee hasn't signed anybody out of the portal to replace him. That's the risk that he's taking when he does that. So he was going to be a very good player, played a lot last year, was in line to get even more playing time, was going to be a big piece, literally and figuratively, within this defense. And I think he was, going to be a part of a more aggressive style of defense. So I don't. He had a tweet that it was like the little chin scratching emoji, and it was him trying to figure out what he was doing. And I don't really know. I'm at a loss on that one, but unless somebody knows, you can drop the reason in the comments. But to me, it seems like a money grab, and it seems like a situation to where he is, looking for a better opportunity. So what's next? Well, I think for depth purposes, you're going to have to replace him. And honestly, I think there's a lot of guys that are going to be in the portal. So I don't think it's too much of a panic thing. But Ohio defensive tackle Braylon Henderson, we have a thing about Hendersons. But Braylon Henderson, not any relation to Bryce Henderson, has picked up offers from Vanderbilt and Boise State since he entered the portal. So this is going to be one to look out for. I think if he has a choice between those two schools, you're going to get paid, play for Vanderbilt, put some SEC film out there, and you were good enough to start on a bowl team in Ohio. Ohio's been a really, really stable, steady, great MAC program. So he's coming in seasoned. That could be a really good replacement. I think unless he starts picking up offers, unless he starts picking up offers from that school over in Columbus, Ohio State, I think it's likely that he is going to end up at Vanderbilt. But West Virginia defensive lineman Amir Leonard-Jean Charles is entering the portal as well. He's 6 foot 300 pounds. He, out of high school, he had offers from just about every heavy hitter like Michigan, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, and Auburn, amongst others. So I don't know what that means for his recruiting coming out of the portal. And he's from my hometown, Fayetteville, Georgia. So that's pretty cool. actually, Steven Johnson, another defensive lineman at McNeese, is from my hometown of Fayetteville, not Amir. I think it's it's going to be interesting to see kind of where they go with this, because Steven Johnson is that massive space eater that could play the nose position at 6'4", 330. Fayetteville, Georgia, representing. But it's going to be, like I said, they have options to go to in the portal. So I'm very very excited about that. But De'Marion Thomas, best of luck is about all I can give you. I'm scratching my head as to why. I mean, I think I know why. I'm still scratching my head because I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And, I think maybe it's a panic move. Maybe he was being pushed out. Maybe he felt threatened with all the playing time. Like, he needs to go somewhere that he can start. It's a little bit concerning, a little bit of a red flag if I'm an NFL scout. You jump ship when you have a starting position. What happened? I don't really understand that. Also, I saw this, and I don't know if it is viable. I don't know if it's going to work out. I think it has a chance to be really cool, but stop me if you've heard this one. Another Vandy State Aggie door. Like I said, stop me if you've heard this one. Another Vandy State Aggie door. This time it's New Mexico State running back Monty Watkins. He's entering the portal. He has 965 career rushing yards. He's a speed guy that I believe came over from TCU with Jerry Kill and Tim Beck when they went to New Mexico State. He would be a perfect he'd be a perfect 1-year rental. And he would be somebody that could do a lot of different things. Speed-wise, he can add a lot of depth. I think he can add a lot of quality depth because those guys are getting banged up all the time, right? And Vanderbilt's identity is the run game. And so if you can get a piece that can be a home run threat, why not get him? Like, can you imagine blocking duo and all of a sudden he makes one linebacker miss, and they've been playing two high safeties, which I'm not sure they're going to do that against Vandy because of all the 12 personnel, all the running. But just imagine it, just for example's sake. Just imagine they're playing a two shell, and you run a draw on third down, and bam, he pops it out, and he's off to the races. Like, he has the speed to be able to split safeties. And what makes this interesting, if Vanderbilt is interested, is that he does. I don't think he'd cost too much in NIL, by the way, but he does have a relationship with Tim Beck and Jerry Kill. And likewise, probably Diego Pavia and what feels like half the roster. But, I don't know what that would do to the running back room as a whole. I don't know if that pushes somebody out completely. I don't know if somebody's going to already be jumping to the portal. I don't know if Vanderbilt's even interested. I think they should at least kick the tires on that because you never know. Like with De'Marion Thomas, like that was unexpected. You never know what's going to happen in the portal. You don't know who's going to leave. You don't know who's doing what. You just don't know. It could be A.J. Newberry that leaves. I don't know. I'm just speculating. There's nothing actually to that. Not really that much of an insider. But like I said, I'm not sure if they're interested. I think they should be. I think this would be a home run for them if they were able to be interested in that. Wide receiver wise, this is all speculation within with portal targets and things like that. But this one's interesting. Quaron Adams. I have no idea how to pronounce it. I'm probably butchering that. It's Quaron. Quran. I have no idea. But he is definitely interesting. Coach Nady, he's following me on X, by the way. So I feel good about that. But I don't know if there's a connection there. I don't know how well they got along. But that's an interesting target as well. Like, you can't get too much speed. Yeah, it might be a little similar to Trey Richardson, which I'm starting to really like that as a slot guy, as just kind of like a Swiss Army knife type guy. But this is going to be an interesting portal season. It's going to be a very interesting portal season because there's just lots of action happening within the portal. There's lots of things cooking in the portal. There's just good stuff. And I think Vandy's going to end up getting more people than they anticipated out of the portal, because I think there's going to be some people that see, hey, I just need to go get me some playing time. I think a lot of Vandy's people that are going to hit the portal are going to be those type. De'Marion Thomas might be the only money grab that I can think of, because he's already primed for a starting position, unless Zaylen Wood was about to take it from him, or Aaron Bryant was about to take it from him. But even then, it would have been a 1-year rental, because Aaron Bryant, I think, has 1 year left. But nonetheless, not expecting him to come back. But the kid from Ohio, I think would be a really good addition to the defensive line room. So, speaking of transfer portal, Mark Byington's, he's working hard in the portal. He just pulled another winger, just pulled another guard, Mike James. Who? Mike James from NC State. We'll talk about him. We'll break him down next. But first, the NBA playoffs are almost here. They're right on the doorstep. And FanDuel's giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Man, can you believe that? $250 in bonus bets to bet on the NBA playoffs. Is the Ant-Man going to break through to the finals? Is he going to put up a double-double? Is he going to score 20? I don't know what the over-under is on points. It varies. But is there going to be, what's going to happen there? But here's the thing. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props. Like, I love the player props. I don't know about NBA player props, but I do love them for NFL. But you can do 3-pointers to steals to assists, anything. They have so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. So don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you need a second listen, Chris Gordy, Locked On SEC, tremendous show there. And, of course, the NFL draft is coming up, so if you need all your draft analysis, you can find it right here among the Locked On Podcast Network. There's a lot of draft analysis, a lot of team-specific draft analysis from the Locked On NFL. There's some stuff. So there's a lot of different avenues for you to get great draft analysis. So, and all the Locked On College hosts are doing player profiles, or at least for the ones that are projected first, second round. So make sure you check that out as well. So Mike James. Who? Mike James. Who? He commits. And let me tell you, I'm excited about this one. And normally I'm not excited about a sixth man, but he's somebody that can be a high energy difference maker off the bench. And because he was injured all last season, I think it's a viable addition. I think you have to build depth and quality depth at that. He's going to play that MJ Collins role, and I think he's going to do it better. Right? He's a really good, perfect sixth man for Vanderbilt. He's coming off an injury anyway, so he can rehab a little bit. He can get better. This is a picture from him at Louisville, by the way. But he's somebody that has a lot of versatility. He's your prototypical wing player at 6'5". He can shoot if he's in a rhythm. He can drive. He can play defense. He can do a lot of different things, and he can hurt you a lot of different ways. And that's the versatility that you look for from a super sub. A guy that's going to come on the floor, he's going to play hard on the defensive end of the floor. He's going to get the offense facilitated. He's going to get things going in transition. He's going to be able to catch and shoot, assist, everything. He's going to be able to do a lot of different things, and it's going to be outstanding for this basketball team. He's going to bring energy to the floor as well, and that's what you need. And that's what they were lacking. They were lacking that sub that, like, I felt like a lot of times when Mark Byington would sub, if it wasn't Tyler Tanner, I kind of felt like you were just waiting for the starters to get back in. I felt like these guys weren't creating, and when they did, it was inconsistent. So you weren't real sure just who was going to contribute when. And when you're watching the game, you're like, okay, well, MJ Collins comes in, and all of a sudden you're just kind of waiting for it. You're just kind of waiting on something to drop. You're waiting on something to happen. And some games you would get really good production off the bench, and some games you would get horrendous production off the bench. And it just, next thing you know, you're down, and it's just not good. So I think he can bring a little bit of consistency to that role, and he can be somebody that's going to be able to score if you need him to. He's going to be somebody to be able to say, they're on a run right now. We're going to sub you in, and you're going to go stop this run. He's somebody that can do that. Hey, we need you to go in for a couple of minutes here, score us a couple of threes, get us some momentum, and I think he'll have. And the NBA keeps this stat. I haven't seen it in college, but it's a plus minus system, and it's like, hey, what's your plus minus? And it really just rates your impact on the floor. Does the team elevate when you're on the floor? Is there a positive impact on the plays that you make? Are you making a lot of turnover worthy plays? Is your plus or minus high or low? What are we thinking? Are you raising the stock of the other four by being on the floor, or are you not? And so that's kind of where he's at. And I think that at the point in his career that he's at, with the injury stuff and what's going on there, and the fact that I think Vandy's got a pretty good lineup, Mark Byington's got a pretty good lineup. So I can't guarantee that he won't start, but I don't think they're anticipating him to start nonetheless. But he is, like I said, he's a good, he's a really good, valuable defensive guy. And his versatility, his length, his athletic, he's quick, all that stuff. He is he's pretty good. He's not a pure shooter, which is okay. When you have a sub like that, you just need a guy with high energy that can run around, play some defense, make things tough on the opponents, facilitate a little bit, score a little bit when you need him, but mostly just facilitate. I think these latest moves prove that Mark Byington wants to run the floor. I think he wants to be more of a transition-based team that he was in his season at James Madison. And I think if he can get to that, I think he'll find a little bit more success. And because what I saw was this team, anytime this team tried to play a slower half-court paced game, it seemed like the way the team was made up this past season, their best runs came when they were running. Their best moments, the times where they had massive leads, even they would run, right? They were fast-paced. They were a lot of transition, defense, all that stuff. But they weren't doing that towards the end, towards the end of the season in those losses against St. Mary's. They ran them, they out-athleted them, and then all of a sudden they stopped. They tried to play half-court, and St. Mary's is very much a half-court team. Vanderbilt is not. And now they've got some players that I think will help feed into that, and I think you'll see more of the fast-paced team, because I think you're going to have a lot of guys that come in that play that style of basketball. Whereas I think he was just trying to get whoever he could out of the portal last year because you just didn't know. This year you have an idea, and I think he can be a little bit more specific in the portal, and that's a great thing. So, but welcome to the club, Mike James. Versatility, defense. Could use a lot of that around Vanderbilt. So that's a very, very, very good thing. So baseball. This is the portal show apparently, but or recruiting and portal, but baseball got a really good commit. Bo Holloway from Nolensville. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about baseball a little bit next. All right, wrapping up the show. Thanks for making us part of your day, part of your daily routine. Shout out to you everydayers. Shout out to you loyal third segment warriors. If you're still here, I love it. And you're about to hear about some Bo Calloway. I about said Bo Callahan, but that's a callback to Draft Day, the really good Kevin Costner movie. But Bo Holloway has committed to Vanderbilt, and I'm excited. I mean, anytime you can get good pitching, I think that's that's good. And Holloway, what I really like about him, he's 6'5", 215 pounds. He's a number one player in the state, and just right down the road. What did I say? The state of Nashville. Here we go. You're getting the state of Nashville. Aria Garrison broke this story. He chose Vandy over Tennessee, Texas, LSU, and Oregon. I feel like those are some pretty good offers. So great choice there. And the last hurdle, and this is interesting about baseball. The last hurdle that you have to make is the MLB draft. And if you're really good like he is, and you get drafted within the first couple of rounds, it wouldn't shock me if he got drafted in like the second round and he decided to go play Major League Baseball. Would not shock me, would not surprise me, would not blame him for going and trying to do that. But this guy has a very live arm. This guy is very special when it comes to pitching. And that's what Tim Corbin needs. That's what this team needs. They need to have a consistent arm, and they need to have somebody that can go out there and just get on the mound and dominate. And what they really need, going back to the last time I talked about this baseball team, they need somebody with edge. They need a pitcher that's not afraid to go inside on you, up and in on the hands, bust it up and in on the hands, right? You've got to have a pitcher that's going to knock you down, going to make you move, going to make you think, going to make you fear them in the batter's box. Holloway can do just that. Bowker, I thought he had a pretty bad outing against Oklahoma, but for the most part, he's been brilliant this year. But I still don't really feel like these guys fear Vandy's pitching. And there's definitely not anybody that comes up to the plate that they fear. So they need to have some sort of salty, nasty attitude. I think that's the approach. And probably maybe have, and this sounds weird to say because, the coach in me is like, oh, don't say that. But the less technical, the less thinking, the less analytical they can be with their approach at the plate, I think the better. I think just the mindset of, hey, we're pissed off. We're not I think the Vandy boys, I think every single person in that lineup was so pissed off that they were getting chirped that they kind of just forgot to overthink. And that's impressive, by the way. That's outstanding. And they need to carry that attitude. That's the attitude they need to have. They just need to come in salty. And like I said, my offer still stands. If they want me to come pull some Michael Jordan stuff on them, I will. I will absolutely do so. But hopefully they do. And hopefully, we'll see. But that's all the fun that we're going to have today. The portal's about to heat up. The portal's about to get real interesting. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you stay alert. There's going to be a lot of things happening. over the next few weeks, and we'll see how Vanderbilt is involved. But until next time, we'll see you back here later on the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Anchor down, behave yourselves. Peace.